Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. We made this in the last video. We're not going to be making this obviously in this video. In this video we'll be making something that's going to go in here. If you want to see how I made this, I will leave the link to the video in the description box. However, it's not like you don't need to watch the construction of this in order to watch today's video. So I have a few bits and pieces left over from the previous video that I want to use today and make something. And I think I'm going to dive into the junk drawer again. All right, diving in. Maybe we'll do a double dive. Okay, so now I have quite a few things to work with, things that I got out of my junk drawer and also what I have left over from the previous project. And now I'm thinking, what would something like this be used for, right? It's kind of vintage. I'm going for that Victorian kind of a feel, I think. And I'm thinking this would be like a nice little thing for letters, perhaps like love letters in a bundle or something like that. Obviously, I'm not going to go writing letters, but I am liking the bundle idea. So I'm thinking in advance that I'm thinking that I want to do a bundle of things. So instead of having just say a journal inside, I want to have all different types of elements. So first of all, like I'm just seeing this sometimes, you know, things just seem to work. Like I'm seeing all of these beautiful things that really go with the theme, as in I'm seeing what I want to see. I'm looking for like vintage Victorian kind of a feel, and that's what I'm going to pull out of my stash here. And everything that doesn't work is going to go back in the junk drawer. I recently had some boxes come in from Grabby, and I shared all of the links and beautiful products that came. And these are just some packaging little things. And look at this. Of course, I'm going to keep this because I can cut out just this gold writing. Perfect. Check this out. Is this not a perfect match? Maybe it's not. It's not that perfect. Look at this, the first X-ray, 1895. And this is an illustration from 1898. Time to create. I really love this, but I really don't know how I can utilize this in anything. I feel like this would be a nice cover piece, you know, just to kind of demonstrate what I mean by that. It's an old belt of mine that I pulled apart. I think I'm going to save this piece for a different project. Okay, I'm going to start by cutting this into separate sections. As I was cutting this down, I was pretending to be a lady living in the Victorian times and just trying to think of what I should put in here, being such a lady. What would one have in here? And just trying to gather ideas, and this came to mind. So I'm pretending to be this lady. Not that I know anything of the Victorian times or when this actually might have been, but I made this little mini journal in a video where I made all sorts of stuff with newspaper. This is the video where I use newspaper to create all these beauties. And of course, it crossed my mind that this should be the perfect kind of thing, a little journal to live in here. And as I'm contemplating my life as a Victorian lady, and I've mentioned already, you know, I would have like a bundle of love letters or whatnot in there. I now need to create some special stuff that I will be keeping in my case as a Victorian lady. So I'm just pulling out some stuff for my very first piece, well, second piece, because I already have that journal in there. How lovely would it be to have like a beautiful handkerchief in there, or a gorgeous pair of Victorian lady gloves. Such a fine idea. The king shall like it. So now that I've mentioned the king, I've come to realize that I'm not just any Victorian lady. I'm some type of a regal Victorian lady, or some type of royalty, clearly. So I went rummaging through my stuff, and this is pretty much the only thing I found. It's like a handkerchief, and I feel like it's very regal looking, is it not? You shall agree with the queen, or off with your head. It seems like I'm some type of an evil queen, so... Oh, I'm a queen now. That progressed fast. So I will be like a heavy-handed queen that gets things done. And this will be like my, how should we call it? The scrapbook of my inventions. So I'm not saying I invented the X-ray machine, but it is my incredible intelligence that has inspired the greatest scientists of the day to invent the X-ray machine. So this shall go in my regal scrapbook. Oh wow, look what I just found. I love this. Warning. The contents of this diary may contain coarse language. That's definitely gonna go in. Alright, so I'm going to stop messing around with the queen thing. I just think that it's quite interesting when you're working on a project to have some sort of a framework or theme. So obviously I'm going with the Victorian era kind of thing, even though I am going to be the first to admit that I know nothing about the Victorian era. I just kind of want to create some fun elements, little treasures that I'm going to put in my treasure folder. And another thing is, I don't really have much time for filming today, and I wasn't planning to film today, so this is kind of a impromptu kind of a filming sesh. So I'm just going to create some fun things, and they don't have to make any sense. I don't have to make them make sense. I just want to have some nice things, but it's also nice to have a little play while I'm at it. Who says I need to always be serious and grown up? Why can't I be a regal queen who invented the X-ray machine with her brilliance? So far I have the little journal. I did make this off screen. I love the fact that we have some hand stitching here, and I'll show you the inside because it looks quite nice. You see that? I hand stitched and then I hid the knots with these little circle stickers. Quite nice. And I have this random thing over here which doesn't do anything, and some lace and the newspaper washi tape, so you can watch that video. And look at this regal handkerchief that goes oh so well with the image. And then of course we're putting in the achievements. Perhaps let's say it is not me who's the queen. Let's say we're creating a little treasure chest of some regal lady in the Victorian times. Doesn't have to be me. I don't know why I went with that storyline. What shall we make now? We do not know yet. Let's start by folding some paper, and I love this. And it has to go on something, does it not? Does it not? It should go on here. Book of Days. Or perhaps I can make another little thing. That's what I shall do. As I was ripping this up, this is my mum's handwriting, I was thinking that actually handwriting would be a beautiful element to include. And the other day when I went to walk my dog, somebody had put out a piano stool to be collected by the rubbish people. And I opened the little piano stool and I found all these notes in there, so I took them. And of course, this is not a Victorian old, but it's quite old. It's, I don't know from when, but perhaps the Queen was an avid music lover. And maybe this can go in there, even though that's from the 90s. I mean, I don't mean the 90s, I mean the 90s. Less than 100 years old, that's for sure. So like maybe 60s, 70s. I was gonna say 1900s, and we're working in the 1800s. When was the pen invented? All right, Google says that the biro pen was invented in 1938, so none of this writing is going to go in there. Not that it matters. I'm going to pretend that this is quill and we're gonna use those. None of that matters anyway. I'm not gonna dwell on such details. This isn't an assignment that I'm gonna be marked on. This is using things from my junk drawer, so I shall not dwell on the details. It would be quite imprudent of me to dwell on the details. I don't think that sentence made any sense, what I just said. I'm thinking of covering this, but actually I'm going to leave it as it is, and it's gonna go in my little treasure chest. All right, now I'm working on this. I don't want to make this into a journal, or do I? Such sharp edges do not do it justice. I think for a little while there, I got stuck on how I want this to go, and now I'm just going to go with the flow and just grab things that are in front of me and make stuff, because I have spoken. That's also my mom's handwriting. I'm going to use it. I think I like this idea. Okay, we're gonna come back to this. This is from packaging from stickers, so I'm going to use that and the wise words of my mother, but we will stick with this. This can be like, even though it says the contents of this diary, so that means it's a little diary. So let's go with the diary thing. I'll just make a little signature from the pages that I have available to me. I'm not gonna go pulling out more stuff. Like, I was for a moment there thinking of a folder that I have right behind me within reach, and the folder is all vintage stuff, and I was very tempted to go and start pulling things out to make this really special and worthy of the filming process. But the reason why I started with a little series of these videos where I just use my stuff from my junk drawer is purely for the fact that I know that we can be creative anytime, anywhere, 15 minutes a day. That was the initial plan. The initial plan, I was going to put a timer on for 15 minutes and just create something without thinking whatsoever, just creating. That was the plan. Anyway, that didn't work out. Not to say that it didn't work out, because it's not possible. It's quite possible, and that's often how I create. But for the filming sessions, I wanted to do a little bit more. And anyway, here we are. So, as I said, the idea is not to overthink things or overcomplicate, or specifically not to go rummaging through all of your stuff that you have, looking for that perfect piece that we often do that, where we go and we start looking for the perfect sticker or that perfect piece of fabric that's going to be, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And then, of course, what happens is analysis paralysis and overthinking and complicating, and oftentimes also the more stuff you have, the more overwhelmed and the more decisions you need to make, and it just becomes difficult to create. All right, the stack is slowly growing over here. We shall keep going. Now I'm thinking a little glassine bag, and I have plenty also within reach. A little glassine bag would be quite nice, but I will not, especially not after preaching just now about not pulling things out. I'm going to use this bag. Oh, there was something inside. That's fine. I'm going to use this. Oh, yes, I am. And this will be my holding pouch for very important things. And I need to go see what's happening. Whew. The Regal Queen has had an unannounced visitor. Now, where was... Oh, we shall also use this Priority Swiss Post, which was, of course... delivered by carriage, horseman. So quite clearly the Queen lives in Europe. Okay, I did say I'm gonna stop with the narrative, but it's kind of difficult when you start. It's kind of hard to stop, especially when the Queen receives unannounced visitors and the Queen's dog in waiting has to shred them to pieces. None of this is looking good, darling. Off with your head. You are fired. Oh, but Your Majesty, please allow me to redeem myself. Okay, that's looking good. What is the purpose of such an endeavor? Here we have some very important royal samples of fabric. Perhaps one might say that this is the receipts you see from the modiste. And, you know, perhaps these are the samples for the Queen's quarters and the Queen's stuff, okay? Do not question the Queen. This shall be glued on. Okay, I'll stop now. I will stop now. I promise. There may be a few more outbursts, but that is it for now. All right, so we have this that goes on the pile. Next, I wanted to have a look at this. It has some Chinese writing here, and this kind of print is giving this more of a modern kind of look. So I'm going to cut it off, basically. I'm going to get rid of the writing. Cut it off! That does not look very good, does it? Well, it is what it is now. We are sticking with it. So now these doors, they are the royal doors, and they shall be open. Okay, I will stop, I know. All right, now we shall do that. All right, so because this has this kind of thing on the back, I'm gonna glue it onto something and make this an element of its own. Maybe I can use the other side of that bag. I'm not entirely sure where I'm going with this at this present moment, but I'm sure that something will come out of it. I've added a little bit of sewing there, and this is going to maybe go here like so. Yes, I do like it. So I think I'm going to glue this down so only this opens. That's what we will do. Excellent. Now what do we have? We have this absolutely stunning piece of, I'm not entirely sure, I think this is wallpaper, and I wish it feels like fabric. It's kind of like half fabric, half paper. It's quite amazing. I have quite an idea that just popped into my head. It shall be the very important royal scroll. I need to tie it with something. All right. The stack is growing yet again. We need something for in here. The Queen's Royal Subject Banjo has arrived. Hello, Banjo. In today's video. I don't know why this is in the junk drawer, but I created this many years ago when I did a video on jelly printing on your stickers. And this is actually like a full sheet of sticker paper. It's not like junk by any means, but it was in there, so I am going to use it. This looks very, very good, but I am going to take it to my sewing machine because it is kind of peeling off a little bit. I suppose that sticky paper is quite old, so, and I think it's going to look good with the sewing. And here we go. Isn't it marvelous? Quite. Okay, onto the pile. Now, I don't actually have that many things left from my stack. And I feel like these here, romantic afternoon tea, vibrant girls, spring story, spring garden, and so on. I feel like this is more perhaps for the Queen's ladies in waiting. It's not something that a queen would spend her time on, you know, these frivolous things such as romantic afternoon tea. The Queen is far too busy inventing an X-ray machine, you see. This is all that I have left. So I am a little bit at a loss on what to put in here. Maybe I'll just create something like a collage or something. Well, first of all, these look mighty fine. This is quite obviously the Queen's Royal stamp. And Oh, wrong one. If you have noticed this piece that I glued down, it is using, it's not exactly the same stamp, but using a round stamp and stamping a book page basically. By the way, I did have some of these papers left, but I'm not going to use these white papers, so I'm going to put them away. And now for this piece. I also have this rather large piece. Just laying a few pieces down. I'm not sure where I'm gonna go with this. I am running out of materials. Quite indeed. We are getting there. Now I have this little piece. Here we go. Does it have to make sense? Certainly not. Not in this kingdom. It would be prudent of you to demand such a thing. And here we are. I have used the word prudent twice in this video, and I'm not sure that I know exactly what the word means. So one being me, is going to have to Google it. Perhaps I will get one of my royal subjects to Google it for me. Of course, we have to make this a little bit aged. Much better. That piece is done. It is nothing. It is simply a collage of bits and pieces. We can call it a journaling section for the queen to write her royal notes. Yes. And now comes the time to fill up the royal treasure chest. But I still do have this piece, which I didn't do anything with. These are all the scraps that I have left, and everything that's left is going to go back into the junk drawer. I'm just checking to see if there's any rubbish. Oh, look at this. A nugget of gold. This is actual gold. So the queen shall be keeping that, of course, in here. Of course she will be. Perhaps along with this golden chain. We shall put that in there too. And then get rid of any rubbish. And that's it. That's all that's left. I love when this happens. All right, let's see what we have created. I thought there would be more, but okay, we have the scroll. We have the handkerchief, which of course I didn't make, but it's gonna go in there. Then we have this piece of royal mail. We have a little notebook, a little pouch wallet, little wallet, let's say, with the, you know, bits and pieces. Then we have this regal writing board, the queen's achievements over the years, including, of course, inventing the X-ray machine, the queen herself with her royal subject banjo, and of course the diary, the nugget of gold, and the gold chain, which was bestowed upon her because she has spoken, and then the royal collage of the most exquisite fabrics, threads, and materials from around the globe that only the queen has the access to. Now we shall fill up the chest. First we have this, then we have the gold, then we have the royal diary, the achievements, the royal writing pad, the wallet we might put in here. Oh yes. Yes, please, and thank you. Then the diary, which may contain coarse language. Indeed. The royal handkerchief. It must go in a pocket, perhaps in here. There's not much space in there, darling, so we can't put it in there. We'll put it in here. And of course, the royal scroll shall live upon the top of the treasure chest. And with that, we have successfully come to the end of our journey together on our horse and carriage. I do hope you quite like this video, and write me a little comment. Indeed, I should hope that you do so, because if you do not, it is quite imprudent of you. I have spoken. Thank you so very much for staying until the end. If you're still here, let me know if you're still here. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and for your patience in this regal journey together we have had. I hope you feel inspired. I sure do. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.